This has been the joy of life here on Cornette.
But speaking of which, we have to have a celebration here of the lives of some of our fallen friends. This is more important to me now with little Harley being sick this past week, that I know how people feel about their furry and feathered family members. And we didn't do one last week because it was a packed show. So I wanted to just briefly, I don't want to get too far behind on this thing, but also I'm going to make one rule, Brian, that I've had to come up with. These cannot be retroactive.
That's the right move. That's getting ridiculous when people are like, my animal died 20 years ago.
Well, no. I mean, listen, I understand how they feel when somebody says, little fucking Buster was the best friend I ever had. He passed in 1991, but I still think about him. I sympathize with that. But if we go retroactive with the just numerical statistics of the audience we have, this would be the entire program. So we've got to stick to things that are happening in the current day, and we'll acknowledge those. But anyway, having issued that caveat, I know you've been waiting for it, folks. This is Reggie's Corner.
Reggie's Corner. We're here to talk about your good boys and girls. Reggie's Corner. We're so sorry they're dead now.
Every time I hear a different noise in the background that I didn't hear previously.
It's just, it's terrible, but for a good cause. And so, like I said, we're going to recognize some people because we don't want to get too behind, but real briefly, KJ from Ohio lost his dog Tank at only 9 years old, and he was a sweetheart, a good boy. Wesley and his wife and daughter lost their cat Ginger, who was 17 years old. And again, the cats are getting the good end of this thing. They seem to be living longer than the puppies. Ethan from Maine lost his beagle Merle, and that's just such a cute name, Merle. He loved baked chicken and Brittany Murphy movies. And Greg and Monica from Long Island lost their German Shepherd Freya, 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 at 10 years old. It was, again, a sudden thing. Tim from London, Ontario. Tim, you might even want to cut that out or not. I don't care. We have no professionalism here. Tim from London, Ontario.
Otherwise known as Lontario.
Lontario, yeah, lost his golden retriever, Charlie, at the age of 13. Mike in St. Louis, his puppy, Wally, passed away at 15. He was an adoption, but he had been with the family for quite some time. Michael and his wife lost their cat, Ellie, whose full name was Eleanor Rigby. And I don't even know if they're from the UK.
What is that?
Nevertheless.
Why does that matter? The Beatles are international.
Well, but it would be more fitting if the cat spoke with a British accent.
Meow with a British accent?
Meow.
Meow.
Meow. See, it's a whole different thing. And Matthew from Bolton, United Kingdom, wanted to have his best friend Spike remembered on the program.
Is that a dog or a cat?
Spike was a German Shepherd also. So, and that's not a cat, by the way, to answer your question.
Well, I know that.
Mandy from Dallas lost Leela at age 13. She loved chasing skunks, which was fucking disgusting, and her paws smelled like Fritos.
Just like me and Dave playing in the field.
And she loved cats so much that she would groom them until they inevitably fled looking like a drowned rat.
And then I put the iron claw on the cat and I crushed his skull.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, no, it wasn't a claw. He threw a saw blade through the cat's head. That was the story.
All right. I was not a witness to this, and I don't want to think about it. Ricky and his wife lost their boxer Cosmo, who was only 6 years old, a lung infection. And his brother, Uncle Leo, misses him. You can tell Ricky and his wife are Seinfeld fans. David lost his 14-year-old good boy Jack to cancer. TJ in Milwaukee lost Beulah McGilla Kitty.
Oh, come on.
That's
That's good.
That's kind of cute. And lastly, Rob in Wilkes-Barre and his son Anthony lost their Cairn Terrier Sammy. And Sammy has at least a resemblance to John Moxley. If you'd like to know how, Sammy, he says, also had a hardcore side that would put John Moxley to shame. Many summers ago, she escaped through the garage of my parents' house and ran across the street into a neighbor's backyard. My father chased her right into what appeared to be a children's birthday party. Right as Sammy ran through the yard, she spotted a bird taking flight. As the bird took off, Sammy took off as well, snatching the bird in midair and killing it instantly. She then ran back across the street and into our garage, but I'm sure she left the kids assembled for that party with a memory that they'll always remember. So we're going to miss you, Sammy. But the birds are happy you're gone.
Sammy.
Ah, Sammy. And that was Reggie's Corner.
This has been Reggie's Corner. Goodbye to our friends on the other side. On the next Reggie's Corner, we'll talk about a bunch more pets who died.
Welcome to the big time, bitch! Woof woof!
All right.
I want to let all the strains of that go away before I speak, so my voice is not connected with it. But anyway, and Matt, what is his last name again? I'm sorry, we do this every week.
He asked us never to use it again.
Don't use it again.
No, it's Matt O'Donnell. Matt
O'Donnell. I was thinking O'Connell, and wait a minute, I'm thinking of Arthur O'Connell, famed character actor.
Hey, real quick, not to go into politics too heavy, because A, we have so much to talk about, but B, let's not do that. But what do you think of the recent developments with Mitch McConnell? Because all of a sudden he stopped talking and he froze at the microphone and people started booing him out of the place in Kentucky. What do you think what's going on?
Well, look at, he was the self-proclaimed Grim Reaper of bills in the Senate that he wanted to kill. He's been killing anything that could be good for people for years. But now it looks like the Grim Reaper is taunting him. And he's disintegrating in front of our eyes. He looks like Vincent Price in House of Wax. He's paler, he's older, he's frailer. And then it was at a press conference with a bunch of other Republicans around him. He was speaking and then suddenly stopped, never changed his expression, never moved a muscle, didn't turn his head, stared for, I believe the official timing was 23 seconds.
Yeah. The last time I saw that happen was that old footage from American Bandstand of Sid Barrett on acid, and he just froze and stood at the camera.
Yeah, I don't think Mitch is on acid, unless it's something for his stomach acid. And then they had to come up to him and say, Senator or leader or whatever they call him in public, not in private, did you have any other comments to make? And he's like, no. And they kind of shepherded him off to the side and then took him somewhere to sit down or whatever. And he's fucking 80, I guess. But once again, selective judgment of people. All the Trump suckers and the Republican lunatics. Oh, Joe Biden's old and he's senile and he can't put two sentences together. The guy overcame a childhood stuttering issue and he's 80 years old, but I understand every goddamn word that he says or what he means if he misspeaks, because it ain't that far off. If you are paying attention and know what all the words mean. He's not either blathering lunatic fucking promos on his own version of Twitter from his bunker at Mar-a-Lago like a demented psychopath that's been deposed from a third world country. He's not zoning out at press conferences and just standing there like he's been hypnotized by in a James Bond movie. He knows what the fuck he's doing.
Should there be age limits?
Yes. At some point, Dianne Feinstein is...
Oh, that's a mess.
Very old.
That whole situation is ridiculous.
And you know, there's another... Well, who was it from West Virginia? Senator Byrd. He was a senator until he was 101 years old. So, yeah, I think there should be not just a hard age limit in terms of 65 you're out or whatever. I think there should be graduated stages. If you reach a certain age, then your position in legislature or in any public office requires you to pass a reasonable for a normal civilian person, not a goddamn professional athlete, physical test and a cognitive test.
On pay-per-view.
And no, come on.
People would pay to see that.
Who, the county commissioner? I'm talking about anybody. If you're going to be a public servant at some period of age, 65, 67, okay, once a year have a physical and do a average cognitive exam. And then, you know, by the time you're in the 70s or approaching 80, maybe there ought to be a hard out there depending on the job. But the problem is that if there had been a hard out at 80, Biden, who was the only person that could save us from the fucking criminal pig menace that's about to be fucking sent to multiple prisons, and I hope he fucking rots there with everybody that ever fucking supported him. He was the only guy that was going to beat that guy and save the world and save democracy, but he wouldn't have been eligible if there was a hard age limit. So you can't back yourself in a fucking corner. That's what I think about that.
Well, this has been Reggie's Corner.
Well, you know what? God dang it. I didn't even mean to do that, but how cool was that?
In a corner, Reggie's Corner?
Yeah, see?
That was good. Hot dang it.
God dang it.